Hi, welcome back to the second segment of Behind the Headlines. On this segment, Maura and I are joined by Dave Sanko, who's the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Association of Townships. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
You're not a stranger here because, goodness gracious, local government is so important in Pennsylvania and to the lives of Pennsylvanians, and local government is what solves many of our problems, doesn't it?
It is, and that's the government that is closest to the people, and most likely one that they can interact with and get the job done. I mean, it picks up their trash, it picks up their leaves, it does their all the local services, make sure the roads are plowed when it snows.
On the earlier segment of the show, we just had to ask our guest about an incoming new Republican administration led by Governor-elect Corbett, and what their relationship will be with the new administration. I guess the same thing here with the Township Association. With a new Republican administration coming in, a new gubernatorial team, what is the Township Association's relationship with the new administration, and what discussions have occurred?
Well, I think, as we're moving forward, townships want to be willing partners with state government. And that's, I think, the one thing that we'll underline and underscore all through the course of discussions. We've had great discussions with the governor-elect, with the lieutenant governor-elect, with members of the transition team as it relates to unfunded mandates on local governments, and how local governments can indeed be a partner with the state government as opposed to a customer, if you will.
Well, we're into the season of giving and asking, and it's time to make your list and send it off to Santa, otherwise known as the General Assembly in your case. If you, what's going to be on your list for 2011?
Well, we're seeking common sense, and we're looking for some common sense
in
reforms.
Your stocking.
We
yes.
want common sense in our stocking, and we're looking for common sense reforms. I think we all recognize that that state finances are bleak.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of money to go around. So we're looking for relief from some of the mandates. We're looking for simple things that won't cost the state a dime, but will make local governments more efficient and help them avoid local property tax increases. We'd like the legislature to allow for the option for electronic advertising. We'd like for public meeting notices to be able to do that on the internet as opposed to having to pay print advertising, just as an option. We'd like them to raise the bidding limits. They haven't been changed for 35 years. To essentially just make it more affordable to go through the procurement process. Nobody's trying to give bids to cousin Vinny. We're just trying to do the best thing and get the best price for the best value for the taxpayers. Changing the prevailing wage thresholds. For paving, as an example. Township crews can go out and pave the roads, but currently there's a requirement from the Department of Labor and Industry that it has to be done at a prevailing wage rate, and that winds up adding about $200 million statewide to local tax bills.
Mm-hmm. One of the largest issues in this state right now, Dave, is of course the Marcellus Shale situation. And whether or not there should be a severance tax on the extraction of this gas. Now, we've talked with individuals from local government and from your association previously on this issue. What is the current position of PSATs on Marcellus Shale, and how the local communities should be compensated, or how they should be dealt with for bearing, if you will, the brunt of the extraction?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we approach the Marcellus development as a three-legged stool. There is certainly economic development value, and we recognize that, but there needs to be environmental protection safeguards put in place, but also a recognition that there's a community impact, and that community impact is something that's borne by the local government.
Whether it's tear on the roads and the bridges.
The roads, the bridges, land development, just all that influx of people and strain on the infrastructure. So we think there ought to be a recognition that we're the only state in the country that does not have some type of fee associated with the severance tax, and in reality it's not a tax on Pennsylvanians. but it would be a fee for Pennsylvanians because everyone who's using natural gas right now is paying that tax on their utility bill to another state. And I think the industry has been very, step forward and said, look, there's tremendous impact to local governments. We recognize that we need to be paying a fee. We do it everywhere else. Just tell us what it is, and we'll make the reimbursements. They recognize that, and they think the bulk of the money should go to local governments and not to what has, up until this point, has been an out of control spending state government.
Well, we've had a lot of differences here between the different parties in the General Assembly and also our incoming governor on whether there should be any kind of tax. How are you going to deal with that as the new legislative session starts next year and the new governor comes into office?
Well, we're optimistic or looking forward to having a seat at the table and working with the industry, working with the administration and the legislature to do what's best for Pennsylvanians and best to keep their property taxes low.
Speaking of a seat at the table, there's some, I think we talked briefly about the transition teams. So you want to tell us a little bit about the role that your organization is going to be playing on transitioning going forward?
Well, moving forward, we've been honored to been asked to serve in the transition team on the local government subcommittee. So we're pleased to be able to work with the incoming administration as it relates to local government's role as partners. And then individually, for my prior service as the director of PEMA, I've been asked to participate with the public safety transition team as well.
Well, we've talked about the wear and tear on bridges and roads in the areas that are being looked at for Marcellus Shale, but there's a broader picture that we've talked about with you and in your predecessor earlier, and that is the whole issue of transportation infrastructure funding. Dave, what does the future look like in regard to that? What new initiatives might the association have in regard to that to share with the governor-elect?
I think as we move forward, there's a recognition, there needs to be a recognition that while the state maintains about 60,000 roads, or 60,000 miles of roads, local government maintains 117,000 miles of road. So it's almost twice as much road miles as the state has, and we do that on about 13% of the liquid fuels money. We spend over $1 billion. Local governments spend over $1 billion a year on highways, local roads right now. But the Transportation Advisory Commission that was impaneled a couple years ago has identified some unmet needs, and of the $3.5 billion that's needed for the comprehensive transportation infrastructure, 1.3 billion of that is for local roads. So we're going to work aggressively again with the legislature and the new administration to try and find new funding sources, and I think it'll be a blend. I don't think anybody knows what those component parts are going to be, but at the end of the day, these roads are about getting kids to school on time and getting people to doctors and making sure ambulances and fire trucks can get through from a public safety perspective. So nobody wants to see bridges closed or roads closed.
Well, you've been under siege in the past with attempts to eliminate townships altogether or consolidate, and you just basically change the what Pennsylvania looks like from a local government perspective. Do you anticipate facing the same kinds of issues next year?
I think there will always be people who believe that fewer is better and certainly must be more affordable and more efficient. There hasn't been a single study yet that has proven that out. Local government is most effective because it's most efficient because the residents can get to it most easily. The bigger a government gets, whether it is in a region or in a state or nationally, the less efficient it becomes. And we saw a pretty significant voter backlash not more than a month ago with folks saying that a big out of control federal and state government is not something they're looking forward. So we're actually looking forward to having the opportunity to be able to showcase local government as a model for what state government and someday what the federal government ought to look like.
So you're not concerned, it sounds.
Well, I think we're always going to be concerned, and it's always going to be a threat. But we're up for the challenge and looking forward to making sure that local democracy is protected.
Another challenge the townships have been facing, Dave, of course, is the whole slew of unfunded mandates related to water and water treatment. What new initiatives does the association have, or what new approaches does the association have to dealing with those?
Well, I'll draw attention to one in particular. I mean, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is simply out of control. They are just throwing mandates on, irregardless of what the costs are, and saying, well, you fix it. Look, we're all committed to good, quality, clean water, but we're also, want to do that in an affordable manner for taxpayers. PennDOT just recently has put some rules down that said, at the end of the day, townships will be responsible for any stormwater runoff, even on state highways. Look, I recognize that nobody's got the money to do it. PennDOT doesn't have enough money either. But to simply, force that downstream, if you will, to local government because, they're small, they'll never get their act together, they can raise taxes at the local level, is not fair. We recognize we have a role to play, and we're willing to be partners, but we're not willing to pay for everybody else's mistakes.
And this is all happening behind the scenes. The general public doesn't realize that higher levels of government are trying to push these taxes and these costs on to the local level.
Sure, and I think everyone has sent a message very clearly to Washington to slow the spending and to Harrisburg to stop the spending, but there's still an appetite for all the projects and programs, and everyone's saying, well, let's push it down to the local level, and it is going to result in property tax increases, and we're going to fight aggressively to oppose those and make sure that every level of government provides the services that they're best able to provide.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you had some advice to give our incoming governor, what would it be?
Take advantage of the partnerships that are willing to work and to make Pennsylvania a better place, whether it's the local, certainly as local government, the business community, or labor. I think at the end of the day, there are 12 million Pennsylvanians out there who want Pennsylvania to be a great place to live, work, and raise a family, and together we can all make it happen.
That's great.
Well, certainly one of the things that's happening in the last minute of our program here, Dave, one of the things that has been happening around the Commonwealth and the nation is the volunteer ethos has been diminishing to some extent for a number of reasons, and it's harder and harder for volunteer fire companies to find the people to staff them. You're on the public safety transition team as well. What advice do you have for the governor regarding the volunteer fire companies?
I think simply we need to be able to do some things to help incentivize people to become involved as volunteer firefighters, whether it's tax credits or tuition vouchers to help with their education, small things that can help that are small forms of gratitude. I mean, these are special people who do this. Most people, when a building lights on fire, normal people run out. These are folks who run in. Because they want to fix it.
It does take a special person.
And
yes,
it
really
is
does.
a special person. So we need to recognize that. And we also need to recognize that if they go away, the cost of having paid professional firefighters statewide will be in the billions of dollars. And that's simply something that no one can afford. So these small investments now can stave off huge costs later.
Okay. Well, Dave, thank you very much. Thank you for being our last guest for the year of 2010 and helping us ring out a year into the old year and ring in the new. And Mara and I want to wish all of you a happy new year and a prosperous and productive new year. And we look forward to spending the new year with you. Catch us on YouTube, catch us at voiceofpa.net, and look at our websites for Susquehanna Valley Center as well. We'll see you in the new year. See you next time. Bye-bye.